Good morning, and welcome to day 3 of the ASU 7th Annual Poetry Festival. I'm very pleased to have our small group of poetry lovers this morning, an eclectic group. We're always delighted to have an opportunity to pay tribute to a poet. I'll let Sharon Brooks do that. And I'm especially delighted to be able to preside at this program. About 31 years ago, Lucille Clifton visited the campus and we hosted her. And at that time, I had an old raggedy Volkswagen and she had a 4-hour break. And so I said, well, I'll take you to lunch at the Heritage House Hotel. It is now a green-spaced area here in Albany on Oglethorpe, and it was the fancy hotel in town. And it was raining, and so she hopped into my old raggedy Volkswagen, and we started out, and she said, it's raining, why don't we just go to a drive-through? And so we went to the Maryland Fried Chicken drive-through on Slappy, and she ordered fried chicken livers, much to my delight. And we drove around Albany eating fried chicken livers in the car and touring this great city. So we have very fond memories of Clifton here at the university, and she spent a good 5 days with us reading her poetry and visiting with the students. So I'll let Sharon Brooks do her part. Ready?
Good morning. My name is Sharon Brooks. It's a pleasure to have you all here with us this morning. In an interview with Michael Glasser, Clifton observes, because for me, I think writing is a way of continuing to hope. When things sometimes feel as if they're not going to get any better, writing offers a way of trying to connect with something beyond that obvious feeling. Because there is hope in connecting, and so perhaps for me, it is a way of remembering I am not alone. It is important to study Clifton's work because, for Clifton, her writing is not merely a professional occupation or an exercise in the literary arts. Clifton understood writing to be a vocation, meaning a calling, like a spiritual or moral duty that provides an opportunity to connect with humanity and explore the complexities of human existence. Her poetry expresses these connections and serves as expressions of humanism. In them, Clifton's calling inclined her to articulate the complex realities of the human experience and offer hope to her readers, particularly the individuals that felt marginalized by race and gender in a society. Although a contemporary poet, I recognize Clifton's writing, like Phyllis Wheatley, reflecting the metaphysical tradition and mystical poets such as John Donne, William Blake, Robert Hayden, and Walt Whitman. Adhering to the tradition of mystic and African American poets, Clifton uses her art to send a moral message to her audience without compromising the integrity of her craft. Akasha Hull states that Clifton's poems entail expressions that defy, humanize, sexualize, and Africanize her artistic vision. Adhering to the literary inheritance of Black women's poets, such as Phyllis Wheatley and Gwendolyn Brooks, Clifton's poems resist the temptations to reiterate the negative stereotypes associated with race and gender, the ones that were inherited from intellectual community and modern era writers. It is also important to note that Clifton's protest regarding marginalized citizens is emphasized in her use of language, layered symbolism, and form. Clifton's poems serve as a model of aesthetic and artistic excellence. Clifton's poems show readers the complex negotiations associated with gender and racial bias in the contemporary society and the physical world. These negotiations are contrasted with the explorations of religious philosophy and spiritual worlds. This contrast helps to emphasize didactic or moral message potential of her work. Today, we reflect on a poet whose contribution to literature speaks for those things that have no voice, but also for the feelings associated with them. Today, we are honored to celebrate Lucille Clifton.
Good morning, everybody. On the screen, we have a friend of mine, She's an associate professor at the University of Kentucky. Um, this young lady sitting here in the hat is her mentor as well as mine. This is Dr. Mary Emma Graham. This is Dr. Damaris Hill. Dr. Hill wanted to greet you all and share some things about Lucille Clifton. Okay, I'll play that for a second.
Good morning, Albany State University and Dr. Mack. My name is Damaris Hill. Thank you for the opportunity to contribute to the celebration of the life and legacy of Lucille Clifton. She was a mentor and friend to me. It's truly an honor. Before I begin this reading, I would like to say happy birthday to Alexia Clifton, Lucille Clifton's youngest daughter. Today is her birthday, and she found it very fitting that her mother would be honored today. Okay, I'm going to read 3 poems that are original and 3 poems from Miss Clifton. I hope that my poems are in conversation with hers and allow me to honor her in an important way. Thank you. The first poem is In the Garden, and it's written by Lucille Clifton. In this garden, growing, following strict orders, following the light. See the sensational 2-headed woman, one face turned outward, the other swiveling in. Poem number 1. In the garden, made of marble and men, I swivel slowly in, following the drums of your tone. These halls are prone to echo. They are greedy for confessions. Your words mirror my truth. But my voice is a tapestry of tacks, trying to live like your hands. The second poem I would like to read from Lucille Clifton is entitled Study the Masters. Like my Aunt Timmy, it was her iron, or iron like hers, that smoothed the sheets the master poet slept on. Home or hotel, what matters is he lay himself down on her handiwork and dreamed. She dreamed too, words, some Cherokee, some Maasai, some huge and particular as hope. If you had heard her chanting as she ironed, you would understand form and line and discipline and order and America. Poem number 2. I do as you say. I study the masters, your handiwork of words, some daydreams, huge and hymned with hope in my little poet hand. I chant in form and line, and recall America in its own tongue. The clamor of rickety German and loose Latin always seems to crowd the ear and collect moist in the eye. The third poem I would like to read by Miss Clifton is entitled Miss Rosie. When I watch you, wrapped up like garbage, sitting surrounded by the smell of 2 old potato peels, or when I watch you in your old men's shoes with the little toe cut out, sitting, waiting for your mind like next week's grocery. I say, when I watch you, you wet brown bag of a woman who used to be the best looking gal in Georgia, used to be called the Georgia Rose, I stand up for your destruction. I stand up. Third poem. Ms. Clifton, when I watch you, wrapped up like a bound book of love letters, sitting surrounded by the smell of cherished wisdom. Or when I watch you, in 2 dimensions, backlit and glowing, in a screen much too small to hold your light, I say you are the color of wet the inner. Who will the truth, as radiant as you, serving your pain, as fragrant as Brooks, Urie's flowers? Because of you, I stand up in the world that said I was ruined. I stand up and I mark it with flowers. Again, thank you so much for allowing me to share and contribute on this important day. I hope to see you soon.
Oracle Woman, in memory of Lucille Clifton, by Joan Gavin. You are our Oracle Woman, sitting with wisdom precious and bloodied, 12-fingered hands divining us to the marrow of our bones. You go with us to the water, and remember those lost too soon. You, a son and a daughter, I, a mother and an unborn child. You are seer, comforting and agitating us, not afraid to speak of unpopular histories and false innocence. You are our moon-graced woman, with ties made from mutual pain and incorruptible laughter that tells of so many incisions in the soul. You are our mother love, with big hip courage and a strong heart that wills itself beat until all is well. Lucille, you say, when you lose your flesh, you gain spirit. Flesh weighs the spirit down. So you are a beloved woman of starlight, now free from the physics of nature, circle our space with your bright-colored essence and perfume the universe. Joan Gavin, February 19th, 2010. In honor of Ms. Clifton, phenomenal poet, we have some students who will be sharing, and faculty and staff, who will be sharing some poems with us. So if you would, come up one at a time and share your poem.
My name is Liz Ventura, and I'll be reading Harriet by Lucille Clifton. Harriet, if I be you, let me not forget to be the pistol pointed to be the mad woman at the river's edge. Warning, be free or die. And Isabel, if I be you, let me in, sojourning, not forget to ask my brothers, ain't I a woman too? And grandmother, if I be you, let me not forget, work hard, trust the gods, love my children, and wait.
My name is Aquilana Suggs, and I will be reading Island Mary by Lucille Clifton. After the all been done, and I, one old creature, carried on another creature's back, I wonder, could I have fought these things? Surrounded by no son of mine, save old men called mother, like in the tale the astrologer tale. I wonder, could I have walked away with these voices singing in my sleep? I, one old woman. Always I seem to worrying, not for another young girl asleep in the plain evening. What song around the ear? What star still coming?
Hi, my name is Karina Trent, and I'll be reading Fury by Lucille Clifton. Remember this, she is standing by, the furnace, the coals, glistening like rubies. Her hand is crying, her hand is clutching, a sheaf of papers, poems. She gives them, they burn into jewels. They burn jewels into jewels. Her eyes are animals. Each hank of her hair is serpent's obedient wife. She will never recover. Remember, there is nothing you will not bear for this woman's sake.
Good morning. My name is Derek Hankinson. I'll be reading the poem Climbing by Lucille Clifton. This better? A woman precedes me upon the long rope, her dangling braids the color of rain. Maybe I should have braids. Maybe I should have kept the body I started, slim and possible as a boy's bone. Maybe I should have wanted less. Maybe I should have ignored the bowl in me burning to be filled. Maybe I should have wanted less. The woman passes the notch in the rope. Mark 60, I rise toward it, struggling, hand over hungry hand.
I'm omilar, okadagi, and I'll be reading Adam Thinking. She, stolen my bone, is it any wonder? I hunger to tunnel back, inside desperate, to reconnect the rib and clay, and to be whole again. Some need is in me, struggling to roar through my mouth into a name. This creation is so fierce. I would rather have been born.
Hello, I'm Leah Christian, and I'll be reading Admonitions by Lucille Clifton. Boys, I don't promise you nothing, but this: what you pawn, I will redeem. What you steal, I will conceal. My private silence to your public guilt is all I got. Girls, first time a white man opens his fly like a good thing, we'll just laugh. Laugh real loud, my black women. Children, when they ask you, why is your mama so funny? Say, she's a poet. She don't have no sense.
Good morning. My name is Alexandra Devaport, and I'll be reading Listen Children by Lucille Clifton. Listen, children, keep this in the place. You have for keeping always. Keep it always. We have never hated black. Listen, we have been ashamed, hopeless, tired, mad, but always, we loved us. We have always loved each other. Children, always pass it on.
Hello, I'm Josh Ingram, and I will be reading Lorena by Lucille Clifton. It lay in my palm, soft and trembled, as a new bird, and I thought about authority and how it always insisted on itself, how it was master of the man, how it measured him, never was ignored or denied, and how it promised there would be sweetness if it was obeyed just like the saints do. Like the angels and I opened the window and held out my uncupped hand. I swear to God, I thought it could fly.
Good morning, my name is Greg Farms, and I'll be reading Good Times. My daddy has paid the rent, and the insurance man is gone, and the light's back on, and my Uncle Brood has hit. For $1 straight, and they is good times, good times, good times. My mama has made bread, and my grandpa has come, and everybody is drunk, and dancing in the kitchen, and singing in the kitchen. Of these is good times, good times, good times. Oh, children, think about the good times.
Memory. Ask me to tell how it feels. Remembering your mother's face, turned to water under the white words of a man at the shoe store. Ask me, though she tells it better than I do. Not because of her charm, but because it never happened, she says. No bullying salesman swaggering, no rage, no shame, none of it ever happened. I only remember buying you your first grown-up shoes. She smiles, asks me how it feels. Lucille Clifton.
Good morning. I am indeed fortunate to have worked with Dr. Mack and Dr. Hill at the University of Kansas, and I look forward to working with some of you in the graduate program at the University of Kansas, so be sure and keep up the good work. My name is Mary Emma Graham, and I'm happy to be here today. I am reading Cutting Greens by Lucille Clifton. Curling them around, I hold their bodies in obscene embrace, thinking of everything but kinship. Collards and kale strain against each strange other away from my kiss-making hand and the iron bed pot. The pot is black. The cutting board is black. My hand, and just a minute, the greens roll black under the knife, and the kitchen twists dark on its spine. And I taste in my natural appetite the bond of live things everywhere. Lucille Clifton.
Good morning. I'm Deborah Ford, and I'm delighted to be here, and I'm delighted to be a part of Albany State University's Poetry Festival. I thank Dr. Mack for inviting me, and I welcome seeing again Dr. Graham, Dr. Bond, and my other colleagues from the Summer Institute. This morning I'm going to read My Mama Moved Among the Days by Lucille Clifton. My mama moved among the days like a dream walker in a field. Seemed like what she touched was here. Seemed like what touched her couldn't hold. She got us almost through the high grass, then seemed like she turned around and ran. Right back in, right back on in. Lucille Clifton.
Okay, this one is titled Moonchild. I'm Rosemary Mundy Shepherd. Some of you know me. Whatever slid into my mother's room that late June night, tapping her great belly, summoned me out round-headed and unsmiling. Is this the moon? My father used to grin, cradling me. It was the moon, but nobody knew it then. The moon understands dark places. The moon has secrets of her own. She holds what light she can. We girls were 10 years old and giggling in our hand-me-downs. We wanted breasts, pretended that we had them, tissued our undershirts. Jay Johnson is teaching me to French kiss, Ella bragged. Who is teaching you? How do you say, my father? The moon is queen of everything. She rules the oceans, rivers, rain. When I am asked whose tears these are, I always blame the moon.
We read at the Summer Institute in Kansas, Homage to My Hips. These hips are big hips. They need space to move around in. They don't fit into little petty places. These hips are free hips. They don't like to be held back. These hips have never been enslaved. They go where they want to go. They do what they want to do. These hips are mighty hips. These hips are magic hips. I have known them to put a spell on a man and spin him like a top.
Good morning. I am Carlisha Hart, and I'll be reading O AntiGod. O AntiGod, return to me, my mother in her 30s. Leaned across the front porch, the huge pillow of her breast, pressing against the rail, summoning me in for bed. I am almost the dead woman's age times 2. I can barely recall her song. The scent of her hands, though her wild hair scratches my dreams at night, return to me, O Lord of then. And now my mother's calling, her young voice humming my name, Lucille Clifton.
Good morning, everyone. This poem is my name is Sierra Mintz, and this poem is entitled Poem in Praise of Menstruation. If there is a river more beautiful than this, bright as the blood, red edge of the moon, if there is a river more faithful than this, returning each month to the same delta, if there is a river braver than this, coming and coming in a surge of passion, of pain, if there is a river more ancient than this, daughter of Eve, mother of Cain and of Abel, if there is in the universe such a river, if there is somewhere water more powerful than this, wild water, pray that it flows also through animals, beautiful and faithful and ancient and female and brave. Lucille Clifton. Good morning. My name is Alexis Lloyd, and I'll be reading Praise Song by Lucille Clifton. To my Aunt Blanche, who rode from grass to driveway into the street one Sunday morning, I was 10. I had never seen a human woman hurl her basketball of a body into the traffic of the world. Praise to the drivers who stopped in time. Praise to the faith with which she rose after some moments, then slowly walked, sighing back to her family. Praise to the arms which understood little or nothing of what it meant, but welcomed her in without judgment, accepting it all like children might, like God.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Alicia Kinney. I'll be reading Seeker of Visions by Lucille Clifton. What does this mean? To see walking men wrapped in the color of death, to hear from their tongue such difficult syllables. Are they the spirits of our hope or the pale ghosts of our future, who will believe the red robe, who will not run on forever, who will believe a tribe of ice might live, and we might not? Okay, thank you.
This poem is entitled Song at Midnight by Lucille Clifton. Do not send me out among strangers, Sonia Sanchez. Brothers, this big woman carries much sweetness in the folds of her flesh. Her hair is white with wonderful. She is rounder than the moon and far more faithful. Who will hold her? Who will find her beauty if you do not? Lucille Clifton.
Good morning. Today I'll be reading She Understands Me by Lucille Clifton. It is a blood and breaking the thing drops out of its box, squealing into the light. They are both squealing, animals in cage. Her bars lie wet upon open and empty, and she has made herself again out of flesh, out of dictionaries. She is always emptying, and it is all. The same wound, the same blood, and the same breaking. Lucille Clifton.
Hello, I'm Chris Nixon, and I'll be reading Shapeshifter poems. The legend is whispered in the woman's tent, how the moon when she rises full, follows some men into themselves and changes them there. The season is short, but dreadful shapeshifters. They wear strange hands. They walk through the houses at night. Their daughters do not know them. Who is there to protect her from the hands of the father? Not the windows which see and say nothing, not the moon. The awful eye, not the woman. She will become with her. Scarred tongues, who? The owl laments into the evening. Who will protect her, this pretty little girl? If the little girl lies still enough, shut enough, hard enough, shapeshifter may not walk tonight. The full moon may not find him here. The hair on him bristling, rising up. The poem at the end of the world is the poem the little girl breathes into her pillow, the one. She cannot tell the one. There is no one here to hear this poem. Is a political poem, is a war poem, is a universal poem, but it is not about these things, this poem. It is about one human heart, this poem. Is the poem at the end of the world. Lucille Clifton.
Good morning. My name is Alexandra. I'll be reading Sisters. Me and you be sisters. We be the same. Me and you coming from the same place. Me and you be greasing our legs, touching up our edges. Me and you be scared of rats, be stepping on roaches. Me and you come running high down pretty street on time. And mama laugh and shake her head at me and you. Me and you got babies, got 35, got black, let our hair go back. Be loving ourselves, be sisters. Only way you sing, our poet, Lucille Clifton.
Good morning. I am accused of tending to the past. I am accused of tending to the past as if I made it, as if I sculpted it with my own hands. I did not. This past was waiting for me when I came. A monstrous, unnamed baby, and I with my mother's itch, took it to breast and named it history. She is more human now, learning languages every day, remembering faces, names, and dates. When she is strong enough to travel on her own, beware she will.
Okay. I'd like to thank all of the readers of the Lucille Clifton poems. It was so special to hear all of the different poems in the very many voices that we heard. And it just reminds us how wonderful a legacy Clifton has left for us. So I'd like to thank you and give yourselves a round of applause. And the next session will be the session for the young people in the early college.